Welcome to another episode of In the Library of Graphic Literature with your host, Wallace Ryan. And of course, Luna.
Yay! So, like the gun, it's this was made for me by a friend of mine, Sean Huckster, way down in the United States of America. Beautifully done. I love it too. It has a working trigger, which is cool, and this spinning device, whatever this is. Pew pew. But yeah, it's kind of our mascot, I guess. So we got a few new books this week too. Oh. So a few of them are sort of slightly older. It just took a while for me to get them.
I see.
Now this is one. Go ahead. You can hold it up for the fine folks. It's the Legends of the. What is it again? Legends of the DC Universe. Carmine Infantino is his name. He was a famous artist and editor, actually, at DC. And his early stuff was actually my favorite. He was the one he's most famous for designing the original Flash.
Look, there you are.
Oh yeah, there I am. Yeah, he was. I deserve that, I guess. He was, of course, most famous for he designed the. I know it's in here somewhere. Darn it! Oh yeah, he was the one who designed the Flash outfit.
Okay.
Yeah, and so he revamped it from, and ironically, he revamped it from the 30s and 40s one, and he was actually the artist who drew the last issues of the 30s and 40s one, and then he got to redesign it. And it was a cool outfit. I always liked the Flash's outfit with those ear the wing airs and the multiple images. I mean, it was pretty cool. But this also had some other cool stuff. Powwow Smith. Oh, and this another. Sort of more obscure hero in DC Comics, the Elongated Man. That was actually his name. So he was one, he's like Plastic Man, right?
I was gonna say.
Yeah, he's a rip-off of Plastic Man. And then, all the other ones came after that. There were a lot of rip-offs of
Elastigirl.
Yeah, Elastigirl. So yeah, it became a tradition, right? It was like flying became so commonplace, right? But yeah, Carmine died a few years ago. I actually got to meet him when I was down in New York, and you think I'm grumpy. When I met him.
You're not grumpy. I'm grumpy.
Yeah, you're grumpy. No, I'm grumpy. But you talk about grumpy. When I met him, I don't know if he didn't have his Wheaties that morning or whatever, but it was like, now he was polite and all that, but it was just like, wow, he seems like he's in a really bad mood, right? So I made it quick whenever I was talking about him, right? Okay.
So, what's this one all about?
Oh, this is...
Confessions Illustrated, Adult Romances.
Yeah. Now this was...
Unfaithful Wife. I sold my baby.
They're great, aren't they? Man Crazy. I like that last one. This is from EC Comics. Like, when the censors started really... come down hard on EC for their like Tales of the Crypt and all that type of stuff, horror stories. They came out with the Comics Code Authority. They tried some other directions, and so they tried this. Now these are more like almost more like illustrated comic stories. They're
I like that style.
Yeah, they're comic but with typesetting. So I mean the drawing in these. Yeah. Oh, I wouldn't be surprised that could be who they modeled it after. But basically, they're like comics, but it was like a really adult-looking type of comic, right? And with the typesetting. Now, this was the reason I bought this. This was part of 4 books that came out. I had it actually as a set, but I sold the set to Dennis, and so I went back and I got these. And it's not that they're really great comics either. It's the historical values. How I'm buying these for. Now the illustrations in it are pretty cool.
I'd like to learn how to draw like that.
Yeah, I mean these guys are solid illustrators.
Pen and ink.
Like that.
Charcoal.
Love cheat. Oh, Psychoanalysis. That was another EC title, which I actually do have. But I love the The drawing is top notch. That is one thing in its favor, right? So, but I mean, it was an interesting experiment at the very least. So they gave it a try. So next up is
Murky World.
Oh, now we're going into our sort of heavy metal section of the. This is from Rich Corben, who was most famous, of course, for he did a comic. Oh, let me hold it up there.
Why am I not doing a good enough
Oh
job?
no, I think I was going to say this is.
Break some spines.
There you go. Yeah, I'll break some. Oh yeah, here, take it. No, I thought the thing was slipping, wasn't. This is from Rich Corben, who I first came across him when he was doing like Eerie and Creepy and Vampirella and those type of comics, and he painted with this airbrush, even back in the 70s, and it came out looking like now this is probably colored. This is probably being colored by Photoshop, but he could do Photoshop-esque colors back in the 70s just by using an airbrush. And they looked, I mean, this looks very much like his stuff did back then. It had this beautiful 3D painted effect that was just out of this world at the time. When, as kids, we were like, geez, Christ, this guy is amazing, right?
It's definitely different.
Yeah. Now, he only died a short time ago, but everyone was a big fan of Rich Corben. Do you remember Bat Out of Hell, Meatloaf?
Yes.
The album. He does the album cover to Bat Out of Hell. So he's he was all over the 70s, right? But Dan, I love Dan. There was just something about this guy's drawing that just, and even his black and white drawings were very, very well done, right?
I don't think they can see.
Oh yeah, let's get up. Now he so cool. And but yeah, it looked very realistic to us back then in the 70s, because we were used to standard comic book DC Marvel coloring, right? And then came the Europeans and heavy metal.
This is colorful.
Yes. Now this is from Philippe Druillet, the Knight. I got these two recently, and like Mobius and Corbin. Although I knew of Corbin, Druillet, when we as a matter of fact, I even have a copy when Heavy Metal came out in April of '77. I even have a copy of it here. This was the comic that changed our lives, and he was in a lot of it. And you've seen some of the inside art there. It just boggles the mind, right? Like especially some of the what would obviously today, if they were doing it today, they'd be using Photoshop for effects or stuff like that. But I mean, just like this type of thing. The fact that that's all hand drawn. Now, I'm pretty sure these were a lot bigger than your average comic book pages too.
Oh, okay.
But I mean, the detail that was just went into every single page.
It's like album art for heavy metal.
I mean, look at this, right? So I mean, as a teenager, I was 16, I guess, when I first seen this, and it was just like, good Lord, I'd never seen comics like this. This is, Superman and Spider-Man were never like this, right? So very super colorful and just very, very bizarre. But there was just something about his style. I think it was the detail was what did it for me when I was a kid. It was just so detailed, right? And there was just some, and I liked his machines too, like that.
And this one's by the same guy?
Yeah. Now this one is the rather disgusting book called Vuzz. Now this isn't as even though the cover is very detailed and all that. We'll give a good look at that cover there. Even though the cover is super detailed in that, the actual artwork in it is kind of simple for him. Still kind of heavily.
Oh.
Right, and now they got it done in instead of black and white, dark blue and white for this. So it's kind of a slightly different style, a little bit simplistic, which is unusual for him. and a lot more narrative, and there's a lot more disgusting things happening in this.
Is there a chance this one was like unfinished?
No, oh no, I can remember even I read this as a kid, and even when we were reading it, it was just like, oh my God, oh no, they're doing this, or they're having sex with that, or so. I mean, it was. I'll let our readers have a look at this. Just the drawing style alone, I like, but it was like just about anything could happen in these stories, right? And right? This thing gets captured by this large beast, creature or whatever, which ends up having sex with him. Like, so well, like I say, coming from Marvel and DC to the likes of this, it twisted our little brains. It was just like, oh my God, this is disgusting. Yet we could not look away. But yeah, great. But the art was great, even though, like I say, very simple compared to the last one. Extremely simple, all right?
So what's your current book you're reading?
Oh yes, this is yeah, actually it is the current book I am reading. I was trying to think of a fancy name, but exactly it. This is called the USS Stevens, the collected story. This guy, Sam Glanzman, used to do a lot of war stories, and geez, he did all kinds of other stories for, he did some war stories for DC, and I know he did some stuff for, I think at Charlton now or what. But I always like this guy. I have several books and stuff that he's done over the years. And when I seen this, the USS Stevens, I'd read a few of these, because he'd publish these in DC and other places. But this is the first time they put them all together. So, if you're into the wartime stories, they're sort of, this is, because I know some people who are really into war comics, and this is great because it's almost 350 pages of World War II. And show people it up front. But there's something about his style too that I kind of like. It's nice and loose, very sketchy, but still kind of detailed enough. Mm-hmm. And this one, very cool. There was just something about it. And when I heard that they were doing this, it was just like, oh my God, I gotta have Sam's latest book. I think he passed away in the past.
Is it based on anything?
I can't remember if this was based on his. I always thought that he was. That it was based on his wartime experience, because so many of them did go off to war, right? Thank you for your service. Oh, there's a letter. I thought he was. But it reads it. It's funny. I never even thought about that. You got me good. But I always assumed it is it, because it just has that feel of realism. It's just like, yeah, this guy sounds like he was actually there, right? Mm-hmm. As opposed to some war comics and stuff you read. It's just like,
her granddad stories.
Yeah, exactly. These are great granddad stories. But yeah, but like I say, I love the art, and it's. I'm about, I don't know, not even a third of the way through. But I will have this read within about a week or two. And I've talked about before what I call the bathroom books. Is there are so many books that I put aside and I do bring into the bathroom every time I use the bathroom, and you'd be amazed the amount of reading you get done. I'm sure I read at least 10 books a year, right? Anyway, this is definitely one worth reading. Now, next week, hopefully I have some new books for next week. Either that, or else I have my top 10 favorite Batman comics or stories. Now, the one caveat I have to say is that these are my favorite books that I own. Right? It's just like I'm not going to go out and buy maybe some book that I don't have. So it's going to come from either that, or if there's some cool new books in between now and then, we'll do one of those. In the meantime, check out, I guess, hopefully me and Dennis will get a Thursday Comics out this week. And hopefully we'll get another one of these done in 7 days. Oh, jeez, and I forgot the big thing. Da-da-da. For you sports fans there, you of course recognize the Manchester City jersey, who they won their third straight title in a row.
Did they?
Yeah, it came down to the end. They beat my absolute favorite team, Arsenal, to do it, but now Manchester's my second favorite team, I will admit to it. So it was it was a tough year for me, right? My favorite team in place, and then they lose in the end by their, they lost them, and Manchester City jumped right on top of them, like that. So way to go, boys. Anyway, that being said, I guess it's time for us to head on out. Yay! Thanks for having us over. Woo! Way to go, Manchester!